Sup everyone, it's Charles Finch, the greatest villain expert. So, you've seen DC, and the first villain vlogs I did was the Joker. So now, we're moving on to Marvel villains now, and here is villain number 32. He throws pumpkin bombs at people. And he is the arch nemesis of Spider-Man. Let's hear it for the Green Goblin. So, the Green Goblin, real name Norman Osborn, and the second Green Goblin, Harry Osborn. Norman Osborn wanted to be the first test subject to be a soldier, to use these gliders and superhuman strength to make an army. But then he started to first test it on himself. So, okay. There are many people who were the Green Goblin. So, the aliases are Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn Jr., Phil Urich, and Emerald Elf. So, his occupation is a supervillain, professional criminal mastermind, also a terrorist. And his powers and skills are Goblin Serum enhancements and vast criminal intelligence gadgets. And his favorite hobbies are killing, scheming, tormenting Spider-Man and his loved ones, wreaking destruction and chaos. So, Norman Osborn's goals: become the reigning crime boss at New York City by any means necessary, gain power over the criminal underworld, and to kill Spider-Man. And Harry Osborn, his son, avenge his father's demise by killing Spider-Man, destroy everything and everyone he cares about. And Bart Hamilton kills Spider-Man, or presumably failed. Okay. So what type of a villain he is? He's a supervillain with dual personalities. Right. So the Green Goblin is the alias of several fictional characters that appears in comic books published by Marvel Comics and the arch nemesis of Spider-Man. The first and most high-profile incarnation, Norman Osborn, first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 14 and was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. The Green Goblin is a Halloween-themed supervillain whose weapons resemble bats, ghosts, and jack-o'-lanterns. Comics journalist and historian Mike Conroy writes of the character, of all the costumed villains who've plagued Spider-Man over the years. The most flat-out unhinged and terrifying of them is the Green Goblin. It should be noted that while most who have worn the masks are villains, the Green Goblin's identity itself tends to have its own personalities distinct from its wearer. For example, Norman Osborn, though evil, as a different personality from his alias, being more cold-blooded and treacherous as opposed to the Green Goblin, and his maniac and unstrained personality. And the likely reason for this is the Goblin's serum, creating a sort of alternate persona for whoever injects themselves with it. As such, no matter who wears the costume, the Green Goblin is ultimately a sadistic, homicidal, and destructive force to be reckoned with. So, the Green Goblin was played by so many actors like Norman Osborn as Dafoe from the 2002 Spider-Man. I mean, the costume was very terrifying. I mean, he was just green with no purple, just yellow eyes and a mask that his face can't really move. And back in 2014, Harry Osborn played the Green Goblin. Without a mask, he mutated into the Green Goblin, using spider venom because he was dying. Because his father calls it the Osborn curse for whoever takes over the head of Oscorp Industries. So Harry teams up with Electro, who was once an Oscorp mechanic who accidentally fell into a tank of electric fish. But anyway, the Green Goblin in 2014 was played by an actor named Dan Danefee. So he was a great actor who played the Green Goblin. He was so terrifying. I mean, the eyebrows and the teeth. And when I saw the transformation, his back was, oh God, that's gonna be, what's the word? Excruciating, really excruciating to that transformation. Right, so the Green Goblin is one of the most recurring villains in this series, along with Dr. Octopus, Kingpin, Hobgoblin, and Venom. So, he appears in TV series like The Spectacular Spider-Man, the animated series, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Ultimate Spider-Man, and he also appears in video games as well. Well, only the movie ones. And he appears in the movies. Twice. God, Norman Osborn never apologizes. He doesn't want anyone apologizing to him either. He does love his son, well, mostly, because Harry is Peter Parker's best friend, and Norman Osborn is not forced to be reckoned with ever since he framed his own son, because Spider-Man would have guessed his identity. So when he pretended that he was faking the limb after the glider crashed, he introduced Harry as it didn't take long to address Harry as the Goblin, and for that, the limb completed the illusion. So he framed his own son to be the Green Goblin because Spider-Man would have guessed that Norman Osborn was trying to protect himself, not Harry's, because if Norman would have sent to prison, couldn't have made a man out of Harry. He just pathetically says, well, he liedly says, "I've never been more proud of the boy." But then, who is he kidding? He was saving his own sorry butt, something that Spider-Man would have said. Well, very sneaky he is. And I thought he looked really mad back in 2002. Well, that's it. And this is one of my favourite catchphrases from him. We'll meet again, Spiderman!